Hello, welcome to this quick introduction for the Doomtown Complete mod for Tabletop Simulator. We're going to load the mod up here, and the first thing you see when you log into it is the play table. To start, you should come up here, change your color, claim one of the player colors, so that you're ready to go. Also, make sure your rotation degrees is set to 90, because that's all we need for booting and unbooting cards. So we got play mats here for each player. They're fun. Each player has a player board, which we will go over in more detail in just a little bit. There are reference cards scattered around the table. They are double-sided. The first side has the hand ranks for poker, so you can see exactly, which hand rank is better or worse than the other. Flip it over, and you've just got some phases of the game listed out to help you remember the flow of the game. We have various tokens around the table. We got influence chips, we got control chips, and these are stackable. So you can stack them up to keep track of how much total influence and control you have. You can also use them to stack onto a card to keep track of modifiers. We have a noon effect token. So if you have a card that has a noon effect, you can use this token to denote when it's been used for the day. And then we have some bullet modifier tokens. We got ones for draws and ones for studs. And these are double-sided. So you flip them over and they have the opposite of what's on the other side. So you can use them for either plus bullets or minus bullet modifiers. We have some bags here with token cards in them. We have the gunslingers. We've got ancestor spirits. We've got nature spirits. So if you need a token, that's where they're at. For stacking modifier tokens onto cards, I've found you can just, plop your tokens down. And then to make sure they stay with the card, you could drag and select. But I actually have found that I like the fixed joint command. So I come in here, I drag a fixed joint between the stack of chips or tokens and the card. Then I pick it up and they're stuck to the card. Flip it over, they stay there. I can boot it, unboot it, they're there. And you can always remove them to break that joint if you need to. If you have trouble, you can use the fixed joint tool and just click on the chip again and it'll unjoin it. So that's what I like to do for modifier tokens, just so they stick with whichever card I need. We have a winner token here. So if you win lowball, you can take this token for the day to remind you who gets to do shootout actions and stuff first. And so that's the play table. We're going to move over here to the deck building table. First thing you'll notice, we have the rule book here and the rules compendium. These are the latest versions as of right now. They'll get updated over time as the rule book and stuff get updated. You can flip through them like this, but they're tiny like this. I did them small so they won't take up table space. But you can right click them, say pop out, and you have this nice big readable reference right here in the game. So if you need to look something up, this is where you can come do it. So that's that. Then we have the whole collection of Doomtown sorted out here. We've got tokens and jokers up here. We've got legends over here. And then the rest of the cards are broken down by suit and value. So we have our deeds in this column. We have actions, which are clubs, in this column. And then we have goods, and we have spells broken out here. And then we have all of our dudes. We've got drifters in a column, and then each faction has their own column. And at the head of each column is the set of homes for that faction. So the Law Dogs have these different homes, and you can just click them, move them around, drop them together. To build a deck manually, you figure out which cards you want. You can find them. So let's say I'm going to build a Law Dogs deck. I'm going to copy the home and paste it, because everything you do in these stacks, you probably just want to copy the card and then paste them into your deck so you don't lose the reference card. So then say I want a Wyatt Earp. I move him off the stack, copy him, and paste him. I want one of Hattie Delore, copy her, paste her in. Then say I want a Byron Decker, I'll copy him, paste him in. So now I got a couple dudes. Oh, I want some deeds. I'm going to take this one. I want 2 of it though, so I'm going to paste it twice. I want this action, so I'm going to paste it 3 times. So anyway, that's how you can go through, build your deck manually. I want these 2 jokers. I'm going to throw them in there. So after you've built your deck, then you can right click it, save object, give it a name, and then you can import it into other games. Now, I hear you saying, well, building a deck manually is neat and all, but it's kind of cumbersome. And I hear you. So that's why I spent a lot of time on working to get an automatic deck builder working. So to use this, what you need to do is get a deck list together. Best thing to do, or easiest thing to do probably, is to come to dtdb.co, find a deck you like. This is just the deck of the week, so we're going to use it here. We're going to export it to plain text, copy all this, and then I'm going to paste it into Notepad. And the reason for that is we want to remove all of these header lines and blank lines, so that all we're left with is a list of cards with quantities listed. Now technically, if you want, you can put a 1x in front of your home card here and it'll get built into the deck automatically, or you can just remove that line completely and grab the home manually when the rest of the deck's built. Up to you, whichever way you want to do it. But if you leave it in, you do want to make sure that you add a 1x in front of it. Otherwise the tool will throw an error. So we're going to go in here, we're going to remove all the extra lines, going to highlight the whole thing, copy it, and we're going to come back, we're going to paste it in here, then we're going to click Build Deck. Boom! We have 2 piles now. We have our main deck pile, and then we have our starting posse. So it will separate out your starting posse based on the ones that have an asterisk after their card name. So that's how it knows that those are your starting posse. So if you're making your list manually and you want to break them out, make sure you do that. So our deck's almost done. The only thing left to do is we're going to come up here. We're going to grab some jokers, pop them on there. So I like to put the jokers down, then the starting posse, and then we're going to come up and grab the home we need. I copied it, and I'm just going to paste it. And we got our deck, 55 cards. Boom. Right click it, save it. And this one was called Black, Black, Death, and Taxes. So we save our object, and I already had it saved, so I'm overwriting it, but there you go. That's how you build a custom deck. We also, just so you know, have these quick draw starter decks. There's 6 of them, 1 for each faction, and these are the starter decks that Pinebox Entertainment put together in order to be a good introduction to the game and to each faction. So if you just want to get in a quick game, you don't want to build a deck, you can come over and grab one of these. Or you're teaching the game to somebody else, or you're just starting yourself. These are a good option to start with. You can just pick them up and drag them off to use them. These piles are the same as all these up here. They're the whole Doomtown collection, but these are organized by set. So whichever expansion or base set they came in. Don't move these, don't delete these, or the automatic deck builder won't work. So if you do, you know, just reload the mod and you're good to go. So let's grab our deck, we're going to pull it over here, and we're just going to see how it works real quick. So we start, we'll drag off our home, we'll grab our starting posse, and now we come to the joker so we know we're at the end of our starting posse. We're going to flip it over, we're going to shake it to shuffle it up a couple times, and we drop it on our deck slot here. Now I can hover over it and just hit 5, and it'll draw 5 cards to my play hand. This is my main play hand for the game. Now, obviously, when we're going to do low ball poker and stuff to see who the winner for the day is, we'll ante up our Ghost Rock, drag one out here, and then what we want to do is we want a draw hand, which is separate from our play hand. So we're going to click draw hand +5. And lowball poker, you're trying to make the worst hand you can, which this did not do it. We grab them all, we're going to drag them out, and obviously we'll say the joker's like a 2 or something, so it doesn't match anything else. But we still have a 3 of a kind. So our opponent's likely to get the low ball for that one. But when we're done with that hand, we just drag it over here. Oops. Well, that didn't work. Just drag them individually into your discard. And there you go. They're discarded. When you want to ace a card, drag it over here to boot hill, and it'll drop it into a separate pile. That way you can keep your discard, your boot hills separate. Now, if you run... Oh, polls. If you want to make a poll, you can just hit poll. It'll flip a card over, you see what you got, and it announces what the card is to the table. When you're ready to pass your turn, you can just hit pass, and it'll announce it to the table. So everybody knows that you're passing. If you go to draw and your deck is empty, like so, it'll automatically shuffle and drop the discard back into your deck slot, and then you can go ahead and draw the cards you need. So that's pretty much it. That's how the mod currently works. Features are subject to change as I update things over time or add new stuff. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment on the workshop item in Steam, or come find us on the Discord. Oh, that reminds me, one last thing. Notebook. I put in some stuff in here. There's some links under documentation. We have a basic explanation of how the mod works. Under the rules tab, there's links to the rule book, to getting to know Gamora, the explanation of the quick draw starter decks, and a link to the official Discord server for the game, for Doomtown. So go ahead, check those out, and that's the mod. Thanks. Bye.